Trapmore gang, it's been a crazy day following the elimination of the leader of the CJNG cartel in Mexico, El Mencho. This was a serious guy. He was the El Chapo of his set. He was one of the biggest and most wanted narco traffickers in America, not just the United States, but all of North America. He was a very feared individual. He had a lot of people under him, and now they've been out raising absolute chaos in the streets of Mexico, and it is out of control. I'm hearing reports that over 100 National Guard might have been killed. Hundreds of police officers might have been wounded. Marines have been killed. It's out of control, and they're literally still tearing the city and country apart over what happened to El Mencho. So I'm going to show you a whole bunch of things that have been going on and some clips, and you're going to see just how out of control this thing is with the cartels. I feel like these guys are not to be played with, okay? So basically, widespread chaos has been going on all over Mexico. You might have seen this video going around. Okay, this one's pretty crazy. This is basically a video of cartel members pulling up, taking over a gas station and setting it on fire. Now, fortunately, it looks like they didn't actually harm anybody or shoot anybody. They seem to actually let these people go that were at the gas station. They actually wave them off and say, all right, just get out of here. Just go. Just get out of here. And then they basically pour gasoline all over the ground. They just spray gas everywhere, and pretty bravely, to be honest. I'm surprised they didn't end up setting themselves on fire. They just set the gas station alight. So they are completely just destroying the city and the country. And then the guy in the car was very compliant. I should leave. Okay, I'll stay. I'll get out. Let's talk. I'll stay in the car. Okay, I'll leave. Thanks. Good luck. They're giving mixed messages to the person in the car. I'm also impressed they didn't set themselves on fire. I thought that was coming. There's just been absolute chaos in the city. Okay, it has been out of control. Basically, they're burning the city down as a whole. It's not, they don't have a vendetta against the gas station or anything like that. And there's a bunch going on. Okay, this looks like a convenience store that's been set on fire. This is crazy. They're literally causing havoc to regular citizens. So they're lighting supermarkets on fire. Okay. They're burning cars down. Apparently, there's rumors that they are killing civilians, but I haven't seen that personally. It does say that they've threatened to kidnap any American tourists they catch and kill them. That's because, basically, as a retaliation, because the Americans allegedly supported this operation. They're shooting into the air. I don't know if they're shooting at planes and helicopters, but it is just out of control completely. And then just hopping on the bike and getting out of there, I guess. It's crazy. It's just it's out of control. They've just lost their leader and they're just raising complete hell. I mean, I would be terrified. These civilians are pretty brave even standing there. You know, cars on fire all over the cities and towns, huge explosions, gasoline being burned. This isn't good for the environment, people. This is extremely, extremely bad. Nobody is benefiting from this. Even the cartels. This isn't good for them either. You know, it looks like an airstrike or something's gone off. They're setting fire to buses. You know, there's people on the beach just seeing the smoke from all of the destruction going on. It's just non-stop everywhere. We already saw this yesterday, that this was footage of people kind of frantically running through an airport that was apparently being targeted. There was talk of shots fired at an airport. We don't actually hear any of that in this video, but it was rumored that there was going to be some serious situations going on there. You know, roadblocks are being made, blockades. They're not letting people drive down the roads. They've got military vehicles. It is insane that this is even on the table for them. I don't know if that's the police with a military vehicle blockading from the cartels, or if that's the police having a little face-off. I wouldn't want to be messing with police right now. Is this a bank or a phone store, or they're just going absolutely anything they can get their hands on down. Smashing the glass. It's just destruction. And it's so sad to see a country just abused this way. I think the average Mexican just wants better for themselves and their families. And this is just like, you know, it's just self-inflicted misery on their own country. It's their country. So this guy's driving on a boat and you can just see smoke everywhere. The whole city is just on fire. And they say this is happening all over Mexico. It's happening all over the country. It's just everywhere.
Wow, shit is getting crazy. There are fires all over the fucking city. This is nuts.
South Pacific, then if they sent you a message yet, they just said, stay where you are then.
Yeah. Wow. Everywhere you look, we're up on the roof here. Fires all over the place. Can't even see the mountains anymore. Fuck.
As you can hear, these are Americans. They should definitely be worried. They should definitely be sheltering. So this is people what appear to be vacating an airport onto the runway amid these horrific scenes. Literally, they're all walking out onto the runway to get away from whatever's going on in there. I don't know if these are cartel vehicles. Looks like they're giving cartel vibes. I don't know if this is more footage from the airport or a regular road, but people are hot-tailing it out of there by the looks of that. You got even Costco's not safe. They've got Costco on fire. When the Costco burns, you know that society is ready to fall, man. Not the Costco. Please, somebody think of the Costco. Oh my god, all those bargains just going up in flames. Absolute flames. I've only been to Costco a couple times, but it's tragic. It's certainly a tragedy. I'm assuming this is another angle of Costco, and it's just truly tragic. Just, you know, when you just see that, it's definitely Costco. When you just see such destruction, it's just so sad, because you just think, like, I don't know about you guys, but for me, I've always just had this feeling of, like, you know, anything that you see in the world, like, somebody built that, somebody put that Costco together. That Costco means something to somebody in the community. That's their Costco. That's where they get all their shit from. They need it. The idea that people are just out here just burning all the resources and things that everyone else in the community actually needs is just really sad to me. And, you know, look, I'm scared of saying anything bad about the cartels, but really, it just makes you think. Like, if this is how you're treating society and your fellow Mexican, you know, maybe you guys are in the wrong. Maybe you guys actually... Yeah, I'm not going to say too much, but they're saying this is a female Mencho Special Forces member. So they got female shooters. That's not anything new. There's been reports of deadly female assassins that come from these cartels that get busy in the streets, catching bodies, backdooring people, all types of stuff. And it says target number 1 with a $50 million bounty. And I said, El Mencho, he will be Trump's first target. Okay, well, I guess they did actually get their target. Unfortunately or fortunately, depending on how you look at it. Now, there's news now reporting that thousands of American tourists are currently stranded amid the entire country being turned into a cartel war zone. Look at this.
Other news this morning, thousands of Americans in Mexico are being told to shelter in place after the leader of that country's most powerful drug cartel was killed over the weekend. His death led to an eruption of violence across several Mexican states, forcing airlines to cancel flights out of the region. Karen Hua is in Mexico City, and she has the story.
Chaos hit the streets of Puerto Vallarta, the Mexican state of Jalisco, and beyond Sunday, as Mexico's most notorious drug cartel fiercely retaliated after soldiers killed their leader, Nemesio Ruben Ascuera Cervantes, widely known as El Mencho. Ascuera Cervantes was wounded during an operation to capture him in Jalisco and died while being flown to Mexico City. The cartel he led has the highest cocaine, heroin, and methamphetamine trafficking capacity in Mexico, according to the U.S. State Department, which had previously offered up to $15 million for his capture. The violence also hit Jalisco's capital, Guadalajara, just a few months before Mexico's second largest city is scheduled to host FIFA World Cup matches.
Activamos el código rojo.
In response, Jalisco's governor activated a code red security alert, suspending public transit, large events, and school activities as authorities across Mexico race to clear more than 250 roadblocks created by the cartel.
We don't know if we're safe. We don't know if they're going to cancel the flight.
Olga Medina saw smoke rising over Puerto Vallarta from the airport Sunday. She ultimately did make it home to Houston before airlines grounded flights in and out of the resort town.
I feel safe now, but I'm still shaking because I can't believe this has happened to us.
Others were not so fortunate. Adrian Moorfield and TJ Perry went to Puerto Vallarta to celebrate Perry's birthday. They were supposed to fly home to Dallas Sunday. Now they're stranded you're kind of there indefinitely.
There were no outgoing flights until Thursday. That does not take into consideration whether or not roads will even be open, the airport will be operating again.
Now, it's worth noting that the Trump administration has previously threatened to use the U.S. military to target Mexican drug cartels. And while this specific case was a Mexican operation, it's well known that the American government regularly shares resources and intel with Mexico to counter these cartels. Gail.
All right.
It's crazy, right? And I just feel bad for anybody that's stranded there right now. You know, the fact that they said a couple people just got out, and you know the flights got grounded after that. That's terrifying. And to be stuck there while all that's going on and the flights are grounded, I would be very scared. Now, the violence has also escalated, and there's actually footage going around of heavily armed cartel members reportedly storming the local airports. Okay, so we saw everybody running around, getting out of the airport. This appears to be exactly what they were running from. They are actually storming the airports. So you can see a lot of people running there. Some people aren't running, some people are walking, but clearly there's something going on. People are kind of running away. I don't know if that's... don't think that was a gunshot, but clearly the cartels are getting busy in the airports. It's just sad, really. It's just sad to see that this is how the average everyday, you know, person living in Mexico is being made to feel by these organizations. And you know, at the end of the day, I think I did see some comments on Reddit yesterday when I was covering this where people were saying, why don't the cartels just like take the L? You know, like this is the price of doing business. Like you're running an international trafficking ring. Sometimes your leader gets taken out by the authorities, but they're not seeing that way. They're, you know, this is how they're dealing with their grief, just unleashing terror onto the community. But unfortunately, that doesn't help the cartels long term. The idea of, well, you know, they're providing a service, let them just run their business, and, you know, people are always going to demand drugs, let them run the drug trade, and let's just stay out of their way. That's all well and good, but that's not what's going on. These guys are violent. You know, they're basically unleashing untold destruction onto the community out of anger that their boss got taken out. But, you know, that unfortunately is what comes with it. It is a drug war. And there are casualties in the drug war sometimes. And now, you know, they decided to unleash the war onto the innocent public by the looks of it. And it's just not, you know, it's just really not. It's not okay. And unfortunately, this type of thing, I mean, you know, you're angry at the Americans. You're saying that you want to take American hostages and get back at America. I think you really don't want Donald Trump to be sending in troops to Mexico to just wipe out the cartels, because that's the type of crazy, brazen move that he might pull. And really, you know, the cartels, they're very, very powerful, and they're very, very strong when it comes to the Mexican police, maybe the Mexican military. But as far as the American military, they're on a whole different level. Now, what is interesting is to discuss sort of how serious the sort of military, paramilitary wing of these cartels can be. So the CJNG is heavily backed by an elite paramilitary wing of the organization. It's called the Deltas, all right? Let me give you info on the Deltas.
Pacific side, Jalisco New Generation is much more militaristic. You know, Sinaloa prides itself on being clever. So they're going to adopt a posture where they'll just take a lower profile. The group out of Jalisco is the more militaristic group, and it's known throughout the higher level trafficking community that their leadership for their paramilitary wing are 4 former U.S. Special Forces. You've got a Green Beret, a Green Beret, that's Delta Force, 2 Navy SEALs, and a Ranger from the 75th Ranger Regiment. Those are the leaders.
Oh, man. Hold on. I'm from the 75th Ranger Regiment.
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness. I've never heard this before. So the top 4 for the CJNG.
Yes. Yeah, because the guy that when the Jalisco was part of Sinaloa, they were operating under the aegis of a drug lord named Nacho Coronel. Well, Nacho Coronel controlled Jalisco. Coronel's partner was Lobo Valencia. One of the Valencias is married to Mencho. So Mencho had the family connection, so he's ostensibly in charge of the group that at the time was called the Mata Zetas, the Zeta Killers. Well, he handled the money because he was a family member. They had the American Special Forces handle the actual building of their paramilitary. So they recruited former Mexican Special Forces, which is the next tier of leadership. Their main body is former Mexican military personnel, and then they bolster it with Special Forces from Central American countries, Honduras, El Salvador, Panama. These are all guys that come to the United States to get trained. They get trained by our guys at Bragg. They get trained at the School of the Americans in Georgia. And counterinsurgency type training. And so when they go back to their countries and they finish their tour of service, they get paid top dollar. Remember, at least New Generation generates $3-4 billion a year. They can afford to pay these men top dollar. And so when they broke away and formed their own structure, the Matazetas became Jalisco New Generation. It's essentially a military wing that got involved with drug trafficking. Whereas Sinaloa was always drug traffickers that built a military wing. And so that's why you see where Jalisco particularly have had numerous encounters against the Mexican military. And
so they've got American Special Forces at the tippy top of their organization. They're recruiting super soldiers from various high-end militaries from around the world, and they're a militarized cartel. So this is not to be trifled with, okay? This is not, these folks are not to be played with. Now, there would be an incident map that shows how the extreme violence and chaos is actively spreading across the entirety of Mexico. It says Mexico in chaos. Every reported incident of cartel violence since El Mencho's death mapped. 19 of the 32 states affected. So it's all over the country. Fortunately, not too much close to the border. I think they might know better, and I believe these were mainly Sinaloa controlled areas from the last map that we saw. This is 19 of 32 states affected. Here's what's happening. Jalisco, El Mencho killed in Tapalpa, Guadalajara locked down with 10 plus narco blockades, gunshots in the airport, Puerto Vallarta covered in smoke, Costco on fire. No, not my Costco. Prison stormed in Ixtapa. 20 state-owned bank branches burnt, Black Hawk helicopters destroyed, schools suspended, code red declared. I am probably going to butcher these names. My Spanish is not the best. Michoacan. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Bounties of 20,000 pesos per soldier killed. Armed clashes. Curfew communique from Commandant Pay in Zamora and La Piedad. Tamaulipas. Blockades in Reynosa directly on the U.S. border. Really? I didn't see that. Oh, there is a little border action up here. I didn't even see that. So they actually do have some madness going on the border. Sinaloa, there's roadblocks near Villa Union and Mazatlan. Guanajuato, blockades and violence reported in Irapuato. Nuevo Leon, security incidents in Monterrey metro area. Nayarit, violence reported around Tepic. Colima, clashes and blockades reported. Querétaro, blockades reported. Quintana Roo, fires in Cancun, not Cancun, and Playa del Carmen. Puebla, Oxo stores burning. Highway blockades on Mexico, Puebla and Puebla Orizaba. And Veracruz, there's clashes in the Tupon-Mexico highway. Chiapas, Oxo vehicles are on fire. And Tuxtla Gutierrez. U.S. Embassy is saying shelter in place for Americans in Jalisco. Tamaulipas, Michoacan, Guerrero, and Nuevo Leon. And 5 U.S. airlines cancelled Puerto Vallarta flights. A U.S. military task force has helped plan the operation. Apparently, this is the largest cartel retaliation in Mexican history. Okay, this is crazy. People saying 20,000 pesos, that's just over $1,000. It's not that much. So that is crazy. And there's even more footage now going around showing these cartel units. They're actively patrolling the region. They're controlling the streets. They are taking over completely, right? They're saying this is members of the Delta Force in Jalisco cartel, from the Jalisco cartel, mobilizing to fight the Mexican army. Mexico urgently needs help from Trump and the U.S. Army. I don't think they want those problems. In the words of Lil Durk, this ain't what you want. Okay, I don't think these guys want to go up against the U.S. military. I think that would be bad for everybody. I think that Trump probably wish a Mexican would, but I don't think that's what we want to be seeing. Okay, we're seeing clashes between Mexican forces and cartel members. Okay, this is in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and it does appear that there's an exchange of fire going on. We're not seeing anything, we're not seeing anything violent as far as just people firing in an active conflict. And this is just really unfortunate that this is what's going on. The Mexican forces and the cartel members, this really is two military forces going at each other, and you really don't want the Americans getting involved, right? Guess I'm cancelling my trip. Yep, better cancel that trip. Right, saying take off that orange high-vis veds. Now, the Mexican Secretary of Defense has recently spoken out about deaths actually experienced by authorities. There are National Guard members that have been killed, and it's been confirmed.
Aprovecho primero para dar el pésame a las familias de nuestros compañeros que perdieron la vida también y un reconocimiento a nuestro personal militar que realizó una operación exitosa. Se puede ver desde muchas ópticas, pero es definitivo que cumplieron su misión. ¿Y qué es lo que se demostró? La fortaleza del Estado mexicano. De eso no hay duda. Gracias.
So he's basically said, you know, it's rest in peace to all of the soldiers that passed away, but the Mexican state really did what it had to do. We had to show our strength. We had to take out this person. It does seem like the cartels are really going 20 for 1, and they really want to get what happened to them back in blood. I do think that this could wind up being a mistake. The last thing they want is for the American authorities to officially get involved as an armed conflict. The American military are on some different type of drills. Okay, so I do hope that things don't escalate. I would love to just see this calm down, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I really do think a lot of people are itching to escalate this. I think there's people, maybe not the Mexican military, but I think maybe there's some American military that are actually itching for this to escalate. I think that the cartels, clearly they want blood. They're ready for war. They're not scared. They're talking about kidnapping Americans. That's very bold talk. And I do think this is just going to get worse and worse. So I'll keep you guys updated if anything else happens. This is really sad and definitely not the type of news that you want to be hearing. But it is important that we talk about these things. I'm going to do some more updates for you guys later today. I have another cartel related video, but it's not related to this actual incident. So I'll keep you guys updated on that. And a couple of Epstein related things that are a bit sensational to talk about, other people that have now come up in the Epstein files in very embarrassing ways. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for watching all of the content, especially yesterday. I feel like we had a really good run of videos. I'm glad that you found the news that I put out there useful. So thank you so much. I'm a bit tired today. Just woke up. Need to get more coffee in my system. But thank you for watching. I'll be back with some more videos later today. And for now, I'm out, guys. Peace.